In this lecture, we will talk about tr, sort, diff, and uniq command. Let's start with the tr command. The tr utility is used to translate or delete characters from a file. Since it doesn't have any options to work with input or output files, you have to use piping and redirection to apply changes to files when using tr. A classic use of tr is to translate lowercase into uppercase. Let's look at some of the examples. Let's bring up the terminal and run these examples. So currently I have a couple of files in here. Let's work with the first file called users. Let me cat the file. Hit enter. There's cronny, sshd, test, bill, John, name, Linux. So a lot of usernames that I copied from my Etsy password file. So let's see if we can change these by alphabetical order. So in order to do that, we'll run the same command again. So cat users, and then we'll pipe it with the tr command, and then we'll do A to Z lowercase, and then A-Z uppercase. So what this command is doing is it's saying translate it and change it from lowercase alphabets to uppercase alphabets. So let's hit enter, see what it does. As you can see, it's been changed to uppercase letters. So let's say if you wanted to change this and then send it to a file, you can just redirect it to a file and change the data. So that's how you can do that. You can also reverse the order. So for example, if you had a file with everything uppercase and you wanted to change it to lowercase, you can reverse the order. And that's how the tr command works. Next is the sort command. Sort command can be used to sort text in alphabetical or numerical order. For example, you can run sort on a particular file to run it in alphabetical order. You can also run it in reverse alphabetical order. So let's look at the terminal and look at these examples so you can have a better idea of what it does. So for example, let me cat a file called users. Hit enter. As you can see, I have a lot of files listed in here, but they're not in alphabetical order. So if I run sort and the file name, hit enter, as you can see now they're in alphabetical order. So if I wanted to reverse the order, I could just do sort -r and the file name, and now the order has been reversed. Sometimes what happens is, let's say if you had many files which were uppercase, then usually when sorts it will keep those files right on top. So in order for you to ignore the case, you can also run it with -f option and hit enter. We don't have a lot of uppercase characters, but if we did, it would sort them by alphabetical order instead of just using the case. You can also use sort command to sort a file in numerical order. So if we had a lot of numbers, we can sort them depending on their numerical values. That's how sort is used in a nutshell. Let's move on to the next command. Now we're going to look at the diff command. If you want to find out differences between files, the diff utility is very useful. For example, you can run the command diff, D-I-F-F, on one file and compare it with the second file. You can also do a side-by-side comparison on it as well. Let's run the diff command on two files that I currently have, and let's look at the live example through the terminal so you can have a better understanding of it. So currently, if I do an ls, I have two files here. So let me cat the files first. So let me cat the first file. As you can see, I have a bunch of names listed in that file. Let me cat the second file. As you can see, I have some more names listed in this file, but lines in this file are much less than the other one. So they're both not exactly the same files. So let's run the diff command to see what the difference is. Let me clear the screen first. So I'm going to run the diff command on two files. One is called users. The other one's called users2. Hit enter. So basically what this file is doing is it's telling us the difference between two files. It's also listing the lines For example, cronny, Linux, name D, user 1, and it's telling us that's the difference. If you see a C, that means line was changed. If you see a D, that means line was deleted. If you see a A, that means line was added. To get a better understanding of it, let's run it with another option. So we're going to run the same command, but this time we're going to use -- side by side. Okay, let me make the screen bigger so you can see exactly what it's doing. Otherwise it may not fit on the same page. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter now. As you can see, it's showing side-by-side comparison of both files, and it's telling you, for example, if you see here, it's telling you these arrows, these names are not listed in this file. So that's how you can get a side-by-side comparison of two files. Let's run this command with one more option. So for example, we can also do pipe and do a cat -n. So what this does is numbers the lines. So if you look at the lines, right here it's the line 6, for example. Right here is the line 7. So for example, line 7 says Linux. So if we go on top where it was telling us line 7, right here. So that's how it was telling us the difference. But it looks much better when you do a diff command by using the option side by side, so you can see exactly what is the difference between the two files. So let's clear the screen. Let's move on to the next command. So the next command is uniq. Uniq command can check if a line exists more than once in a file. It is a rather common error to have a given configuration parameter twice, especially if you have a configuration file that contains hundreds of lines of configuration parameters. For example, there could be a DNS entry that may be listed twice. For example, an IP address can be listed twice. So there can be a lot of common errors like that. This command is very helpful when you're troubleshooting those type of files and those type of commands. If an entry is repeated many times, you can run this command to find it, and then you can maybe delete it or make changes to fix the problem. Let's look at some of the examples. Let's look at these examples through the terminal so you can have a better idea of what they actually do. So let's cat a file. I have a file called users, and this is what it looks like. Now, as you can see, there's a couple of places. I have wheel listed in there twice and cronny listed in there twice as well, right here. So let's run the command on these to see what it does. So if I run uniq on this file, hit enter. If you see now, it has removed the repeated words. Again, the wheel was listed here twice and now it's gone. So it's basically just displaying the unique users. So if we wanted to save this file, we could just redirect this result to another file and then use that as our configuration file. Now, if you wanted to know before you made that change what was repeated so you don't make a mistake, then you can run this command. You can type in uniq with -- repeated and then the file name. If you hit enter, it will tell you what word is repeated twice or which line has been repeated twice. So once you know what is being repeated twice, you can compare it with what it needs to look like, and then you can make the change. This concludes our lecture. I hope you learned something useful in this video as well, and I'll see you in the next one.